Another question I kind of have is, how does Ciena provide the versatile transition from legacy to TDM to the modern packet solution? Can we kind of go into some details regarding that?
Yeah, sure, Ryan. Happy to give you a few nuggets on some of the actual equipment. So, Ciena as a packet equipment service provider has a number of different solutions, a number of different products that fit into this solution space. And so let me talk through a couple of those. We really have different solutions depending on the overall scale of the problem. So first we have a set of what are called pluggables. So we have a number of smaller products which are used to provision packet equipment. And those are first and foremost, Ethernet packet-based products. But on each of their ports, you can decide whether it's going to be an Ethernet service or a TDM service. So we can take our regular products, which are used for implementing packet services, and on a port-for-port basis, decide which of those ports are going to be TDM and which of them are going to be Ethernet. And so for a situation where there's just a small handful of TDM services that need to be preserved, that's a very good way to do that. Secondly, if we have somewhat more TDM circuits, maybe 10, 20, 30 of them, we have what we call a modular metro scale solution. It's a product called a 3926. And that one allows you to do a mixture of TDM and Ethernet, and one side of it is dedicated for Ethernet and the other side is dedicated for TDM, up to 16 services. And then if you have a very large base or a very large installation which has potentially hundreds of TDM circuits, and maybe you need to interoperate with some legacy gear, we have something called the 6500 in the Packet Transport System, or PTS, which can be used to support large amounts of traffic. And you can see on the right-hand side, basically what we'll do is we'll take the TDM circuits, whether there's a small number or a large number, and we're going to aggregate those up either to a gig E or a 10 gig E at the edge, or if necessary, we can go all the way up to 100 gig E. So we can capture tremendous amounts of data, carry it across an Ethernet core, and then distribute it to the other side in either Ethernet form or TDM form, depending on the needs for the service that's being delivered. So scale, automation, because you're using a modern TDM network, and flexibility is really what our overall solutions are about. And then, through this overall discovery process that we talked about in the beginning between Ciena and Converge One, we can decide which of the equipment sets is the best one to use for your particular application.
Thank you for all that good information. And, Brian, can you kind of expand on some of those legacy services and migrating the packets and the items that are kind of coexist for the migrations?
Yeah, well, one of the things that happens is during our discovery phase, we identify a lot of services which must remain TDM. There's things that we just can't change over, and then we find out which ones we can evolve to a packet construct. Some of those are telemetry requiring high bandwidth TDM. That's for space applications, test ranges, simulators. Another thing is existing telephony, existing supported networks. Those are all things that we migrate and we keep pretty much in an as-is TDM construct if possible. We try to take traditional IP and MPLS network services and transport them, and we put that in addition to Ethernet over the OTN network. And the interesting thing is post-migration, because of the way Ciena's system can handle TDM and packet, as he said, on the same box, they can exist in a hybrid fashion, or they can be fully migrated to packet services when the endpoint systems can be upgraded to packet-based interfaces. We find that most of our locations end up in a hybrid fashion when we're done. And it's going to take them several years to migrate everything off of TDM, and we provide them the capability to do that.
So it sounds like it gives them a lot of growth and ability to be agile on, future actions. So really excited to be, part of the Ciena solution set, providing to our customer base. It's a great thing, a lot of advantages. So Jim, I'm going to kind of throw it over to you for closing remarks and kind of the last slide, if you got one.
Sure. I guess what I would like to have folks take away. We've talked a lot about the advantages and the steps that are necessary to go through a successful migration. But Ciena and our teammates like Conversion, we've done this a number of different times, and this is not the first time through. So we've got a certain pedigree behind us, and a fair bit of experience, and that translates into very good success metrics that we've had. Here we're looking at tier 1 and tier 2 carriers as opposed to DoD, but we've done both sides, obviously. And in the first case that we talked about here, we've had customers who've tried to do migrations like this and have had difficulty and had to back off. And we've been able to come in with the process that we've talked about and help them do fairly substantial migrations. The first one was, 23 something odd over OC48 services, a number of different digital cross connects or DACs, and compared to where the customer was originally, we were able to do it probably half again as quickly. In another case, we were able to get efficiencies in terms of costs and both the direct and operating costs of around 40% compared to where a customer was before in terms of operating their network. And in many cases, because of the upfront planning that we're talking about being so important, we're able to set a plan, execute against that plan, and get in and out in the time scale and for the budget that we said we've been able to. So I guess the takeaway I'd like to leave folks with is there's a number of benefits here, which we've talked about, and this team is able to allow you to plan and execute and reap the benefits of those improvements of TDM upgrade by the process that we've talked about, and we're looking forward to helping you do that.
Julian, I think we talked about a lot of good stuff here, so I'm going to hand it back to you.
I want to encourage everyone to check out the description below. We'll have information for how you can contact C1 Government Solutions and engage Ciena for these kinds of projects. Also, subscribe to the channel because we have a lot more information like this posted before and that we'll be posting in the future. And also a link to the podcast. Thanks, everybody, for your time today. And we'll see everybody soon.
Sure, Julian. Thanks so much.